Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and oh man, do I have a hilarious deck tech for you today. I was scouring Magic Online results and I saw a wonderful take on blue-black mill in Modern. I know, it exists and it's amazing. Shout out to Magic Online user Salvagers because this take on mill has netted him a few 5-0s in Modern League, so you know it's real. Alright, without further ado, let's get right into it. This is gonna be good. Blue-black mill has always been an archetype players have tried building around. Wizards has been pushing it for years. Looks like someone's finally breaking through. Lands first. For fetching, the deck runs 4 Polluted Delta, 3 Flooded Strand, and 1 Marsh Flats. It also runs 2 Darkslick Shores, 3 Ghost Quarter, 3 Shelldock Isle, and 2 Watery Grave for non-basics. Add in 3 islands and 2 swamps and you have the 23 land mana base. I want to focus on Shelldock Isle for a second though. Hideaway is a powerful ability. As we go through this deck, think about the hilarious cards you could put under this card. Oh yeah, gonna be fun. The entire point of a mill deck is to reduce the number of cards in your opponent's library to 0. When they try to draw and they can't, they lose the game. Simple concept. Let's look at the creatures that are going to help you do that. For Hedron Crab, good old Krabby is one of the first cards put into a strategy like this. Landfall triggering a mill of 3 is so easy it's pathetic. Not to mention it drops on turn 1 so you have a nice blocker if you need it. Your deck isn't about interacting at all, so you die quick. Hedron Crab plus fetch lands, brutal and efficient. 1 fetch land and that's 10% of their library right there. It's so dirty. Next up is another mainstay, Jace's Phantasm. 1 mana for a 1/1 flyer doesn't sound great. It sounds way better once it's a 5/5 flyer for 1 mana. Milling 10 cards in a mill deck takes legitimately no work at all, none whatsoever. The Phantasm can be a wall to fend off attackers or an alternate win condition that must be removed. It's a nice bonus for playing a mill deck, split your opponent's attention. Phantasm is good stuff in this deck, definitely worthy of a place and inclusion. The last creature in the deck, Manic Scribe. Yeah, the new Shadows over Innistrad uncommon is seeing modern play in modern mill. When it enters the battlefield, your opponent mills 3. If you have Delirium, they mill 3 on each of their upkeeps. Seems good to me. Delirium won't even be that difficult to get, trust me. Your creatures will die, your fetch lands will get fetched, you of course have spells, you'll fall into Delirium a lot. When I was testing it, it was triggered more than half the time reliably. Manic Scribe's awesome. That's going to do it for creatures, only 12 in the whole deck. Time to get to the good stuff, the cards that really push mill into being competitive. For Glimpse the Unthinkable, no better way to jump right in. 2 mana, mill 10, that's it. A sixth of your opponent's deck gone for only 2 mana. Sure, it's a sorcery, but dang, each time you cast this, a chunk of your opponent's spells are gone. Sure, there's the chance they have Snapcaster Mages or Recursion of some kind, but who cares? You're playing mill. Glimpse is the mainstay in the deck and always has to be a 4 of. A card less reliable than Glimpse, but arguably more fun is Mind Funeral, running 3 of them. Instead of milling 10 straight away, they mill until they hit 4 lands. This is especially useful in a format full of fetch lands. Each time they use a fetch land, it's like losing 2 lands in their deck. It makes it that much easier to dig deeper with the Funeral. Again, it is a sorcery, but this is how you're going to win the game. You have to be willing to fire these off when you get the chance. Your deck doesn't play defensively because it can't be defensive. You have no defense. The Funeral is a great way to punish land-light decks and get you closer to your mill glory. Our most powerful mill card is Archive Trap, another card that abuses the opponent for playing fetch lands. Archive Trap normally mills 13 for 5 mana at instant speed, but if they searched, it's free. Free, so broken. You could be tapped out after casting Glimpse, they fetch, wham! 13 more cards. That's 23 cards out of nowhere, more than a third of the deck, gone in a matter of a turn and a half. Outrageously powerful effect, and for 0 mana, devastating. Best part, if you have multiples, you can use them all for 0. Be ruthless. Destroy every hope your opponent has of ever drawing cards again. Make them hurt for fetching. It feels so good. What are we even talking about? Moving right along, we have 3 Crypt Incursion, another card that really only shines in this deck. This is a great way to stay alive against any creature-based strategy. Your deck has serious inevitability, but you need time. Sometimes you need more time than your opponent wants to give you. Crypt Incursion gives you more time at a fair cost. Exiling even 4 to 5 creatures can give you enough life to survive a few extra turns of milling your opponent. That's the goal. Get your opponent to 0 cards no matter what. Crypt is the no matter what part. Sometimes we run out of cards in our hand. Sometimes we need more ways to mill. That's what Visions of Beyond is for. 1 mana to draw 1 card, but in our deck it's more like 1 mana to draw 3 cards. This is Ancestral Recall for the mill player. Getting 20 cards in a graveyard isn't that difficult. 1 Glimpse plus Archive Trap does that, easy, no problem. Since all your cards are live all the time, Visions of Beyond is going to give you live cards. This is easily the best card draw for your type of deck. Much better than Ancestral Vision. You need the cards now, not in a billion turns. All that's left are artifacts. We're running 7 of them, beginning with 4 Mesmeric Orb. This 2-mana artifact is the bane of so many players' existence. We don't care about milling because our opponent is milling as well. There's no way they're milling us as fast as we're milling them, so no problem there. When you play against mill, it's a game against the clock. You have to spend your mana, you have to tap your permanents, and you have to attack. You just do. Mesmeric Orb quickens the clock by turns. Get it down early, they mill 2 by untapping lands, then another 4 by untapping more lands and a creature, then they mill 8. See where I'm going? They develop their board, they get hurt. Good card for us. Our last main deck card is Ensnaring Bridge. As you've probably noticed, we have no real reason to keep any of our spells in our hand ever. Except Visions of Beyond, I guess, but you get my point. We're not going to have 7 cards in hand ever except for turn 1. Ensnaring Bridge stops decks in their tracks, much like Lantern Control. We need the time. We really need the time. Ensnaring Bridge is just another annoying card they have to deal with before they can kill us. It gives us the time we need to mill their hopes and dreams. Expensive price-wise? Sure. Fun for you and no one else? Yes. Worth it? Oh yeah, definitely. That's going to do it for the main deck. Now, before we talk sideboard, there are some things that you need to keep in mind. This is a mill deck, and you're playing blue, but don't get it twisted. You need to be fast. You need to play all of your mill as soon as you can. Remember, this is a race against the clock. It's their library versus your life total. You need to mill them before you die. You have no real defense minus your 3 cheeky creatures. That's all that's standing in their way. If they get a good draw, you could just be dead in 4 turns without being able to do anything about it. With that in mind, attack! You're an aggro deck. Just not a creature aggro deck, you're a spell aggro deck. They fetch, you archive trap. Always. Every time. Get those cards in the graveyard ASAP. Be relentless about it. You have no other options. Remember that. Despite your deck being hilarious, you do need help in certain matchups. I've used Surgical Extraction to destroy Scapeshift, Infect, Affinity, even Tron. The card is bonkers when you have their entire library to choose from, basically. So good. Ratchet Bomb is pretty sick against Affinity, as well as some burn strategies, goblins, even hate bears. Real good against strategies going wide. Talking creature-based decks, the sideboard does run Profane Memento. Much like Crypt Incursion, it can help keep you alive. I don't like it against burn, but against core decks it's pretty sweet. Again, anything creature-based. There have been versions of Blue-Black Mill going around in Modern for the last half-decade. It doesn't seem like any of them have made lasting impact. I don't know about you, but this version seems to be performing better than versions past. I'm sure as heck going to keep playing with it. Let me know what you think and if there's anything you change. Also, if you have any questions, I've been testing with this for about a week now, so ask below and I'll do my best to help if I can. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. Want your mill staples? I thought you might. How about Archive Trap? You can grab this bomb mill rare for only $7 right now. Pretty cheap considering it's only ever had 1 printing. Trust me, if you want to play Modern Mill, grab your playset now. Already have the trap? How about Visions of Beyond? Only $6. $6! That's a great price considering how potentially powerful this draw spell is. Definitely worth picking up if you need it. Click the links, help the channel, enjoy your millin'.